we are diving straight into some absolutely wild, highly restricted reports about a deeply buried, sealed chamber located just south of Jerusalem. Now, you need to know right off the bat, this is not just another dusty archaeological dig. What we're actually looking at here is a discovery that fundamentally challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient history, architecture, and honestly even human biology. So let's peel back the layers of this 3,000-year-old mystery that experts genuinely tried to keep hidden from us. Okay, picture this. It's March of 2022. 4 highly trained archaeologists descend into a newly discovered artificial cavity exactly 42 meters below the surface. After a while, they just stop reporting back. When a rescue team finally goes down to check on them, they find those 4 experts just sitting on the floor, absolutely motionless, staring blankly at a wall. And get this, they sat exactly like that for 18 hours before a single person spoke a word. So when the team leader, a 57-year-old archaeologist named David Oren, finally broke that massive 18-hour silence, he didn't ask for water, he didn't ask for a doctor. Instead, he chillingly recited this ancient Hebrew verse. The inner sanctuary he prepared in the innermost part of the house, to set there the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. I mean, looking around at the polished limestone and the thin layers of gold that had been preserved flawlessly for 3 millennia, it was instantly obvious to everyone there that they had stumbled into something truly monumental.
All right, let's look at Layer 1, the impossible artifacts.
You're probably wondering what they actually found down there, right? Well, a small team cataloged 217 items. And by the way, they had to do this in strict 90-minute shifts because of the intense physical toll the chamber was taking on them. We'll get to why in a second. But this primary inventory is fascinating. It included 34 sealed alabaster containers, 16 bilingual bronze plaques formerly sent from Egypt straight to King Solomon, and this incredibly guarded cedarwood object wrapped in mineralized linen.
To put things into perspective, just look at the contents of those alabaster containers. Container 1 held organic oil that had somehow stayed completely liquid for 3,000 years. Literally, how? But it gets crazier. Container 3 held seeds from a species of the myrrh tree that was thought to be entirely extinct. Botanists planted them, and 21 days later, a 3,000-year-old seed successfully germinated in a modern lab. Meanwhile, Container 4 held a parchment with strict operational protocols for preparing something, well, something unspeakable.
Now this is where things get genuinely unsettling. They found an inscription on the northeast wall written in Imperial Aramaic, dating to between 500 and 450 BC. Think about what that means. It means someone somehow entered this chamber centuries after it was originally sealed, left this incredibly ominous warning, and then just vanished without a trace of how they got in or out.
Moving right along to Layer 2, acoustic resonance and the enclosure, because the chamber itself is actually the biggest anomaly of all.
Okay, so the engineers on site started noticing something terrifying. Their sensors picked up that the basalt floor of the chamber was constantly vibrating at exactly 0.3 hertz. We're not talking about minor seismic activity or random city traffic overhead. Geophysicist Marcos Brenner confirmed it was an intentional acoustic resonance. The entire chamber was built to continuously broadcast infrasound. This is the low-frequency hum that induces severe discomfort, disorientation, and altered states of consciousness. It's basically a weaponized frequency, and it explains exactly why that initial team sat there catatonic for 18 hours.
So, what does this all mean? Well, linguist Professor Eli Shamir translated the ancient texts found at the site, and he realized something that completely flips this whole mystery on its head. In ancient Hebrew, the word they used for containment didn't mean a vault to keep something locked inside. It actually meant sealing a perimeter to prevent outside forces from entering. The chamber wasn't built to hold those relics. The relics were the instruments maintaining the seal. They were trying to seal off something that was already emanating from beneath the earth before the chamber was even built. Naturally, they tried playing it safe by using a remote robotic claw to examine that sealed, linen-wrapped wooden object we mentioned earlier. But the second the claw touched the linen, the entire system went haywire. Every single electronic system, cameras, lights, sensors, instantly failed. The chamber was in pitch darkness for 11 agonizing minutes. And when the power miraculously came back online, the robotic claw was sitting 60 centimeters away, right back in its starting position, and the system log showed absolutely 0 commands for it to retract. No way, right? Which brings us to Layer 3, historical plagues. Because the deeper we dig into the archives, the darker this pattern gets. Take a look at this timeline. It is literally a map of historical disasters.
Every single time there's a documented breach of this specific chamber, a devastating global epidemic follows right behind it. In 108 AD, Crusaders touched a singing stone there, and boom, Eastern Mediterranean plague. In 1348, it was opened right as the Black Death swept Europe. In 1527, an Ottoman expedition breached it, and the very next year, the English sweating sickness erupted. And now, in March 2022, we went ahead and drilled right back into it.
You might be asking, how do we even know about that 1348 breach? Well, a Vatican delegation recently handed over a sealed medieval Latin document straight from the Apostolic Archive. They were down there during the height of the Black Death. They resealed the site and left this incredibly chilling message warning that the price of opening the chamber isn't paid by the person who opens it, but by everyone else living around them.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like the plot of a supernatural thriller, but there is a very real, very scary scientific parallel here. Epidemiologist Uri Feldman came up with a hypothesis that this specific low-frequency infrasound, trapped in a closed underground space, could theoretically preserve deadly dormant pathogens for thousands of years. Disturb the site, and you release bioaerosols right into the water table. And the archaeological reality backs this up completely. Every opening equals a mass casualty biological event.
Let's step into layer 4, the contract, because this is where that 3,000-year-old seal literally starts undoing itself.
Since digital electronics were basically useless down there, the team set up old-school analog fiber optic cameras. And 73 days into just watching the room, in the dead of night, the linen fabric wrapping that wooden object shifted completely on its own. Over the next week, the gold plates fell away to expose the cedar wood underneath. But here's the crazy part. The carvings on the wood weren't Hebrew. They weren't Egyptian. They were archaic Sumerian. Guys, that's a civilization that had been dead for over 1,000 years before this chamber was even constructed.
Only 4 people were ever cleared to read the translated Sumerian text, but one of them leaked a 42-second audio message, and it is a real game changer. It turns out all of this, the artifacts, the gold, the infrasound, none of it was a curse. It was a contract made by an ancient guardian to hold something back, and by drilling into that chamber, we officially broke the agreement.
And that leads us to our final section, the unanswered question. This isn't just ancient history anymore. Check out what happened just recently. In February of 2024, the ancient wood in its Sumerian text became fully exposed. That very same month, the World Health Organization issued a global alert for a completely uncatalogued respiratory illness. By April, it hit 7 countries, showing signs of being a pathogen that literally shouldn't exist in nature. And then, out of nowhere in May, Uri Feldman, the very epidemiologist who warned about the underground pathogens, mysteriously retracted his paper without any real explanation.
Remember David Oren, the team leader? Well, 2 years after his catatonic state, he finally opened up about what he experienced during those 18 hours. He realized that the 0.3 hertz frequency vibrating through the floor wasn't just noise. It was directed information. It was a language. A question that had been broadcast continuously into the earth for 3,000 years, just waiting for someone to come down and answer it.
And this is the thought I want to leave you with today. Oren pointed out that the chamber was an enclosure built to keep things out. So, as that chamber sits open right now, vibrating its question into the absolute void, we have to ask ourselves, what exactly was this 3,000-year-old contract protecting us from? And more importantly, who or what is coming to collect now that we've broken it? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, guys. I really hope this gives you plenty to think about until next time.